It only took about a year after the end of Be Cool Scooby-Doo for the gang to make their comeback, this time with a bit more of a throwback of sorts, Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, which goes back to an art style closer to Scooby-Doo Where Are You in the new Scooby-Doo movies, also taking the gimmick from the latter. Each of these episodes has a special celebrity guest. And how many will be helpful, how many will be cringe, and how many will I recognize? Find out right now. 0, all of them, and more than I thought. Okay, let's go. In our series premiere, we start with a cold open including a mustachioed man and his caddy hitting the links before the sun goes down. The caddy gets scared off by a seagull, assuming it to be the swamp monster, so it's up to the older guy to sink this chip. His reward is immediately being attacked by the swamp monster, and both sink back into the bunker. Our intro song for this series is a big homage to Scooby-Doo Where Are You's, just with some different lyrics, which is pretty cool to hear. That's not the only throwback though, as we check in with our Mystery Gang's art style for the series. They look pretty much like their original designs, except Daphne and Velma are serving ba-dee. Love that for them. Our first special guest is NBA legend Chris Paul, but they do show off some of his non-job related interests, like helping kids get active via bowling, which actually does make sense. He holds a bowling tournament every year, and here's a clip of him bowling versus Lil Wayne in 2011. So, not bad on the research team. They team up to help Chris not only defeat the monster, but also win the golf tournament. Kinda by default. It's a pretty good start for the series, and surely they'll be able to build off this, right? An average-looking family is at Gettysburg to take a nice family photo, commemorating the time that they stood on a bunch of dead people's remains. You know, they say that Gettysburg is actually one of the most haunted places in the United States. But, I mean, there's no proof that ghosts are actually... Oh, okay, yeah, there is. The Gettysburg ghosts come out from the statue to wrap this photo shoot up nice and quick, with a canon event for all families to bond over. If you couldn't tell that we're in the new age, Velma's handy iPad sure lets us know. She scrolls through the family photos to see, aw man, this guy again? Funky Phantom is back, don't you know? Plus the rest of the Funky Phantom crew that no one really cares about. All the gangs really do is argue with each other, but I need to hear everyone bitch and moan like I need a hole in the head. Ooh. Hey Abe. Sorry man. Also, I couldn't really quite place my finger on it before, but now I know what this art style reminds me of, and it's the old Disney princess movies. Velma tries to throw the Funky Phantom crew off the trail, but the red-headed one hacked into her tablet via the public Wi-Fi. Geez, Velma, you really could have used a VPN, which is why today's video keeps going. I had you going for a second though, huh? They eventually unmask Jeb, who wanted to take all the soldiers' gold for himself, and Speed Buggy arrives just a little too late. Come on, a talking car? That's ridiculous. A pet shop owner's looking for a missing cat, Mr. Jones, but I think we'll just call him Jonesy. Something in here has Jonesy spooked, and I'm willing to bet that it's not Wanda Sykes. It's been about 2 hours since Scooby's had a Scooby snack, so the gang make a quick pit stop to get him some food, heading into Mr. People's shop to find a fresh box and his old pal Wanda. They find a hatched egg in a crate with a letter left behind saying that whatever you do not let this hatch. Oh, yeah, about that.
Hey, check this out. This white crystal substance could be a clue.
Don't eat that. Before they can investigate anymore, they're kicked out by People's Business Associate. But of course, that's never stopped them before, as they break right back in to do a little clothes shopping. Sorry, I read that wrong. Shopping for little clothes. The monster stops by for their grooming appointment. No, not like that. But doesn't quite like the look, taking their frustrations out on Wanda. The gang find their only suspect slammed to the wall, so it's up to Shaggy and Scooby to follow this trail to the monster. Fred and the girls set up a DIY quicksand tank, but no time to tell Scooby and friends, who fall right in. Out of the shadows, Magilla Gorilla appears to swoop the drowning trio and knock the monster in the tank all in one move. We finally unmask this monster as Mr. Peoples himself, who blames Magilla Gorilla for eating his entire fortune worth of food. Don't listen to him, buddy. I think you're great. And by the end, Wanda adopts Magilla Gorilla, and he's got a little buddy coming along too. How sweet. The gang take a little time to be tourists of haunted England, and this drive-through haunting experience sure is nice. They come to a crash landing basically right on top of Sherlock Holmes, who bails them out of Scotland Yard and delegates Watson duties to Velma, which certainly gets her feeling some type of way. Shaggy and Scooby chase down a dumpster burger that was stolen by a mouse, breaking into a secret passageway to an old tube station. An underground worker warns them that they should leave before they end up like, well, him. Sherlock brings the gang to the Tower of London, where the crown jewels are in danger. Those glowing skulls chase them all up into the tower for some classic doorway shenanigans, before they all jump into the river. The guard sacrifices themselves to the skulls, who warns them to never return, or face the same fate. Seems pretty open and shut. We'll get on the next flight out of here. Aw man. Sherlock pulls out his thumbnail idea for the worst video you've ever seen, which finally makes the gang question the validity of this fictional character coming to life. Real enough for me, as Sherlock harpoons the skulls, leaving Shaggy and Scooby a bit tied up. But at least they get to go for a ride, so that's nice. Daphne diverts them towards the bridge, where Fred is ready to intercept them, pulling off a pretty cool stunt. They pull the ghost out of the water to reveal some kind of Mars buggy, and inside are the security guard and the underground worker. With this mystery wrapped up, the gang joins Sherlock for a traditional English breakfast. Who dines and dashes? Alright, cool. Ricky Gervais is here to show off his great puppeteering skills. But it's not to inflate his ego any more than the writers do. It's to solve the mummy case. Wait, mummy? What mummy? Oh. Cat Mummy chases the gang around Gervais's flat, and everyone has some pretty good hiding places. Well, they did until Scooby left his ass hanging out. It's alright, Scoob, we've all been there before. They suspect that the mummy is after Ricky's ancient Egyptian statue of Bast, using some angel dust to freak his feline out. Ollie runs into an old antique shop, where there's an old woman who also loves her some angel dust. I know the 80s were good to her. Okay, it's actually ancient Egyptian catnip, but same thing. Ricky gets a bit more backstory on the statue, as they take a secret passage into the British Museum after hours, where the antique dealer falls into this open pit somehow and gets attacked by the mummy. And do we see this happen? No. Doesn't matter, Velma's cracked this case already, so it's time to set up our final trap. And why don't we let our special guest handle this one? Okay, it doesn't work, but how many of Fred's traps work on the first try anyways? Daphne douses the mummy in catnip, and all the cats immediately attack, leaving Ricky to unravel the antique dealer underneath. What? The guy that we had to assume was mauled by the mummy was behind it the whole time? No, it couldn't be. Turns out he's actually a jewel thief who stole the Ruby of the Nile, and put it inside of the cat statue that was accidentally sold to Ricky. Ricky uses some of his English charm to kick the gang out, while also setting a personal record of 22 minutes without mentioning that he's an atheist. Nice one, Ricky. The gang continued their European tour with a stop in Greece, immediately breaking an entire museum of artifacts, and unleashing a bull in a Greek shop? Before racking up any more bills, Wonder Woman emerges to get into a duel, and, kinda gets washed. It doesn't really help that Shaggy used a New Age flash grenade to stunlock her, which leads to the Minotaur escaping. Daphne and Velma look up to Wonder Woman, quite literally, but also as a feminine power icon. By Amazonian law, Wonder Woman doesn't train the boys, so while the girls get some defense lessons, they go find the clues. And a pretty good one too, as they really shed some light on the situation. They all head over to the ruins of Delphi, where the Minotaur shows up to continue the rampage. But Daphne and Velma team up to straight up beat his ass, hell yeah. Scooby's powerful message makes Wonder Woman rethink her whole stance, and decides to disregard her gender policies and train the whole gang, which includes them running a 3-man weave for some reason. Are they hooping out there and we don't know it? Actually, they are like 7 feet tall, so kinda makes sense. She could probably start a center for the Lakers. After a successful training montage, they head over to do some trapping, and Wonder Woman trusts the gang enough to not completely kill this guy. Yet. Oh, the montage was actually useful, see? But when Shaggy's training proves to be fruitless, Wonder Woman takes a page out of the gang's book and traps the Minotaur, beheading this beast in a new way for her, revealing the curator underneath, who wanted to find the golden head of Apollo. Wonder Woman might be my favorite guest in the series. The writers didn't even have to try and make her super cool. She just kind of is. Now in Sin City, a couple of demolition experts set the charge for a building to be leveled the next morning. But think about how this destroys the ecosystem. Where are the pink ghosts supposed to go now? The gang pull up to the Savannah Hotel, the most haunted one in Vegas, and are challenged to stay here overnight. And if they do, they'll receive $1 million. Penn and Teller show up to join in for movie night, so Shaggy and Scooby, you guys get the oh, you're way ahead of me. The gang get a front row seat, kinda, to Professor Mads Markson's show, pulling a rabbit out of the portal to hell to chase them out. Shaggy and Scooby speedrun ruining their life with gambling, so basically the average kick streamer, but hey, at least they aren't harassing people. They head up to the penthouse to see the least evil billionaire, who's currently being attacked by the beast. Penn kinda steals Daphne's whole flow by picking the lock with a bobby pin, but that's fine, because she correctly points out an acrylic nail left in the wall. Penn and Teller choose Daphne to be their assistant, and sure, she looks great and all, but Shaggy and Scooby also ate with their fits. The creature picks up the first row of seats and launches it at the onlookers, crashing them into the area where the explosives are kept. Good thing there's still 10 hours left. Oh. Everyone hops on Fred's getaway catapult that he sets up for every mystery, and with barely a second to spare, fly out of the building before exploding. Luckily, Teller didn't fall victim to the collapse, since he was the one who set it all up, kinda using a McAllister move from Home Alone. He just wanted to surprise his buddy Penn with a really great trick. Teller cuts them a check for $1 million, but Fred's Scout's honor ass attitude sees him rip it up. Hey, he's better than me. I would have been straight to the bank with that. The gang hears some reports of a crazy robot running through the streets of Chicago, where our guest star Urkel from the 90s show Family Matters lives, which is probably a top 3 family sitcom in my opinion, right up there with Malcolm in the Middle and Everybody Hates Chris. I don't know how popular Urkel is these days, but we'll see what he's got in store for us. We basically hop right into our first chase, as Daphne uses some extra hot Scooby snacks to terminate this Urkelnator. But where there's one peak species, there's another, as the creator steps out from the shadows to introduce himself to the gang. They follow the hydraulic fluid trail over to the museum, where Urkel immediately breaks like $1 million worth of stuff. When Urkel reprograms the bot, the actual villain appears, and it's basically like a Matrix skin of the Technicolor ghosts or the Phantoms from the original. An army of robots chase Urkel and the gang down, who throw the train into gear and, sure, good enough. For some reason they let Urkel do the final plan, but he's taking a little too long here. Velma slaps a tracker on the Technomancer, and Shaggy and Scooby get a ride on the Urkel-mobile, which rips a wheel off the getaway truck, sending the Technomancer crashing into a light pole, revealing tons of gold ingots. The Technomancer is revealed to be the janitor, who found the gold parts of the submarine and used the robots to smelt it all down. Good thing the museum is technically rich now, because Urkel broke everything. Again. And the mystery machine. And then he leaves. Cool. All actors gotta start somewhere. For some, it's the worst horror movie you've ever seen, and for others, it's as a fast food mascot. So my big break's coming soon. First though is this guy, who's doing a bit of both, as he gets attacked by a yellow goblin. The gang are all here too, to participate in some sort of eating contest, so surely they got it on lock. That is, until the goat shows up. Some blonde guy. Okay, it's Jim Gaffigan, which might mean something to someone. Basically, this is a wacky racing episode, so it's pretty cool. The yellow goblin here is a late entrant to the race, and immediately wrecks like 10 cars. So my money's on them. They sneak into the restaurant and pour some kind of toxic liquid into the milkshake machine. So, Mountain Dew, probably. Which causes a reaction to make a milkshake earthquake. And there's a moment here where Daphne asks Shaggy and Scooby if eating these french fries really means more than the mystery, and made me kinda sad for her, as she was basically ignored and laughed off. They pull a pretty sweet move to send the monster flying, and they take them back to Tally's to reveal Bill Tally, upset that his brother inherited the entire restaurant. For solving the mystery, saving the restaurant, and winning the race, Shaggy, Scooby, and Jim get the 70-year-old burger, which is still somehow less moldy than the freshest Lunchley box. The gang arrive at Weird Al's accordion camp, where all the campers are being picked up by their parents to leave this place before a dinosaur snaps them all up. Weird Al has a bunch of musical moments that are exactly like the rest of his music, so take that however you want to. What better time to practice a top 3 most annoying instrument than when your friends are sleeping? How about adding a giant dinosaur breaking into the cabin? And we've got a situation almost as loud as my upstairs neighbors. The mystery machine swings by to pick up the boys and speed off, leaving this lizard in the rear view. What do you mean they're in the van now? How the hell? I hope Fred's got insurance for that. During the investigation, the monster causes a cave-in, leading the boys to discover an amber fossil, which the dinosaur really wants. So now they got the bait for the trap, which Al already had built. I really don't want to know what he had planned for that. Apparently there's 2 dinosaurs, and they have a prehistoric battle over the egg. Scooby's in charge of hitting the big note, so here goes nothing. Oh, it actually worked. The dinosaurs are unmasked as Pete and Pete, who were doing some illegal digging. As a result of this, the accordion camp opens back up. Oh joy. A jeweler in Palm Springs is closing up for the night when a late customer swings by to get some really good deals, like a 5-finger discount. Oh, it's Sia. Nah, just kidding. Yo, it actually is. The gang go to meet Daphne's old friend Sia, who I genuinely didn't know was Australian until now. I actually don't know too much about her in general, so maybe her forcing guests to use a sit and bounce as a traversal is canon. She shows the gang the CCTV footage of the jewel thief, which, doesn't look good. While Fred and the girls go look for clues, Sia takes Shaggy and Scooby to the party, and everything she does is perfect for cartoons, so I'm choosing to believe that she's actually like this. As Shaggy goes to turn in for the night, he basically has a lights out situation. Just instead of a creepy monster, it's a blue variant of Sia. She scares Shaggy and Scooby off, who go room by room collecting more of the gang to get scared too. They hop in the elevator with both Sias sending the gang on a little ride. Of course, because nothing is normal in this house of not much horrors, they use these human-sized hamster tubes to slide down into the studio. They trap the party room and set the bait, as evil Sia flies right into the cotton candy machine, and is unveiled as Sia's personal chef, who is going to use the new fortune to open a Pilates studio. Girl, you're a personal chef, you're doing just fine. We start with the animated version of the chimp attack from like 2009, so that's a fun start. Oh, and the Max Headroom TV hijacking? This could be an all-time episode. Shaggy's hanging around with his buddy Kenan Thompson, but he probably just wants to go to Good Burger. Kenan introduces himself as a thespian, which is news to me. I thought he was American. He's putting on a telethon to save the station from Patso the Clown. Luckily, they're safe for now, but this means they beatbox for Kenan to rap? Look, there's a lot to unpack here with some critical theories, but I'll just pretend like this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Patso chases them around the studio, but they give him the slip with a little green screen fake out. But he would have seen the gap around them? Are we just supposed to assume that this is a 2D world? Velma researches more of this Patso fella, putting in the VHS tape and has to warn the others. Oh, so it's like The Ring. So I guess she has 7 days now. Or seconds. 7 seconds. Patso shoves her into the booth before chasing the rest of the gang around. They try to stop the clown with a barrage of cream pies, but Patso always brings protection. The gang hide from Patso long enough to set up the telethon, which instantly gets ruined by the clown. But if It Chapter 2 taught me anything, it's that bullying evil clowns actually works. Patso begins the final act, but quickly gets the hook, and gets unmasked as the TV station's lawyer. The older version of the kid who got pied by the original Patso. And if it's one thing that this kind of TV produces, it's good ratings. So the station's saved. Alfred gets a nice little letter, but before he gets to finish it, he's attacked by some kind of bat creature. You'd think that he'd be used to it at this point. The average driver in California tailgates the Mystery Machine and spins them out before speeding off. Man, if only we had some sort of vigilante to beat him up or something. The gang pull up to Wayne Manor, seeing that it's already open for them. Hey, how nice. And they immediately start meddling, breaking priceless items and nearly uncovering the identity of Gotham's greatest. Fred's too much of a himbo to notice, so you're good, Bruce. Batman. The gang head into Gotham to follow up on their only clue, and break into a department store to do some color matching and shoplifting. Careful, Daph, there's the deranged half-man, half-bat on the loose who hates petty crimes. No, not him. Some sort of creature flies in and snatches Velma up, but she never saw it coming. Without her glasses, she's as blind as a... I'll think of something for that. The bat continues the rampage, but the gang seems like they're missing something. Something that perhaps a young woman in an orange turtleneck could do. Or, you know, an orphan with the savior complex. Look, as long as we get results, I'm fine. Honestly, he kinda gets his ass handed to him, while Shaggy and Scooby just hang from the chandelier. Hey guys, Sia was a couple episodes ago. Give it up. But this stunt actually helps catch the bat, who's triple unmasked to reveal the Joker baby. Batman finds Alfie and Velma tied up, Velma gives the rundown on the scheme, and Daphne and Joker bond over lipstick. Joker, I know what you are, Queen. Whoopi Goldberg reprises her seance role from Ghost, summoning the ghost of Scooby-Doo. Actually, don't do that. You really do have to be careful summoning spirits. You never know what kind of Adventure Time rejects might pop out. It's obviously cold and snowy out, but Velma's still just in her skirt. Look, V, I know you're snatched and all, but it's okay to bring out the snow pants. Whoopi lets the gang into the psychic school and tells them all about the Nightmare Ghost, who rises up from wherever Shaggy and Scooby were sitting and chases everyone out. While they make a mess of the place, Velma's OCD helps find a secret passage straight to an extra drafty room. Who opened a window? Oh, sorry Daph, that's your line. There's some really weird pacing here as we cut from Fred and the girls about to die to watch Whoopi Goldberg turn Shag and Scoob into cats somehow. I'm not totally sure, but sometimes her words just hypnotize me. Them. Hey, it's been a minute since we checked on the others. Are they okay? Oh yeah, they're chillin'. While searching for clues, the gang return back to the main area where snowblowers turn this place into a winter wonderland. So what better time to start sledding? Maybe to also escape the Nightmare Ghost. That seems better, actually. Also, props to them for fashioning skis out of the banister. We love a DIY queen. The ghost chases Shaggy, Whoopi, and Scooby through the hedge maze, ending with the gang turning the snowblowers on the ghost, chiseling out the lunch lady who wanted to shut down the school to get inheritance or something. I don't know, this episode's just kind of whatever. Didn't really do much for me. This next episode's special guest is Mark Hamill, who starts us off with a speech at his old high school, with everyone that you'd expect to see if you go to a reunion. We've got the combination football coach and history teacher, the former it girl who won't let it go, and a giant monster. The gang are driving through Japan and almost run over the mascot, nearly getting sent over the bridge guardrail. Help them, Mark Hamill, you're their only hope. Hey, thanks. Mark's heard all about the gang already, especially since they helped Batman stop the Joker in that one episode. The gang find the remnants of Kurama's wrath, and Scooby's shadow boxes with the fox, but Aki's demon doesn't go away easily, chasing the gang all over the school. They almost ditch the foe, but Shaggy and Scooby start having a fish saber duel. Hey Kon, do you like fish sticks? Oh, okay, guess not. They break the bamboo scaffolding to trap the gang in the stockroom. Mark uses some Jedi mind tricks to make Scooby dig right through the floor into an underground tunnel. And usually the special guests kinda suck, but this Mark Hamill guy is pretty good. I could definitely see him having a successful voice acting career if he really wanted to. Instead, he's just in this regular show. Lore dumping about the samurai sword and the fox and the, hey Mark buddy, right behind you. In case you forgot this was made in the 21st century, Mark Hamill takes a selfie with the monster. Cool. He also crams into the trash can to try and sneak by, but the monster decides that they are not. R2. Mark finds the sword, so Shag and Scoob get in position as the bait, tactically running away in terror as the fox grabs the sword. Fred and the girls try to ring their bell, but I guess Japanese steel can cut right through the floor. So if it can do that, I'm curious as what it could do to Dog and Tippy Boy. Oh, sorry, wrong series. Mark jumps in to save the day with the pay-to-win sword, and we unmask Coach Roach. Shaggy celebrates by trying to get one last signature from Mark on this check for $1 million, which might be the funniest thing in the series. Shaggy and Scooby meet up with their buddy Barry Allen for some burgers, when Fred hits Shaggy with that up late text. Hey, it's Miner 49er, what's good? Wasn't expecting to see you here, but I've got a feeling this will be over in a flash. He does his super flash stuff and saves the day, unmasking Hank underneath, rushing him up to Iron Heights so he and the boys can get back to their burgers. Hey, Captain Cutler's back too. Oh, okay, he's caught too. Shaggy and Scooby are steezed that all their cases are getting solved at an unheard of rate, but the rest of the gang struggle to keep up. Creeper comes out of the school dance barn like the original to chase the gang around the property, finally giving Shaggy and Scooby the opportunity to be the bait. Barry has the patience of a child, so he speeds up the process to unmask Mr. Carswell and takes his buddies to a tapas bar in Madrid. While they enjoy that, the first non-classic monster appears and kidnaps Fred and the girls, leaving a riddle note for the Flash. They head out to the old toy factory where Daphne, Fred, and Velma are all tied up with these explosive teddy bears. He may be fast, but there's no way he can save all three, especially on an empty stomach. He just starts double fisting Scooby Snacks while the other two flashes buy some time for him. Now recharged, he runs through the exploding building and saves the gang, so I'm sure we're gonna get some long speech about how sorry they are afterwards. The teddy bear gets unmasked as the Joker, and then again as the Trickster, and is swiftly taken to Iron Heights. Do the gang thank the Flash for saving their lives? No. Okay, cool. George Takei is leading a tour of Darrington Estate when a giant suit of armor sneaks up behind him, so it's probably best to get the gang in to stop Doombringer. Oh, they're already here. Doombringer, however, is not though. So it's time to start looking for some clues and learn some more about Duke Doombringer. Top 5 names of all time, by the way. The gang don't really care to learn too much though. They just make George say a bunch of words until the gardener finally puts a stop to the silliness with more silliness. Luckily, another suit of armor is here to get us back on track, chasing the gang and Takei through the halls, rudely leaving Scooby behind all alone. Doombringer at least has some heart, tagging along with Scooby as he wanders around. After a quick ruse, George trips the night up and apparently sends them to the Shadow Realm or something. Takei takes the boys up the stairs in a jump scare straight out of Annabelle creation, nearly meeting the same fate that Janet did. George challenges them to a sword fight, and is also shirtless for some reason. The Duke loses their sword, but breaks through the defense to obtain the legal document and takes off in the mystery machine. Luckily, a weird lady has a car for them to take, driving through the hills and genuinely almost killing this person, but the greatest casualty, the mystery machine is totaled. It was the gardener the whole time. Right now, this series adheres way too much to the classic formula. I need something to spice this up. The gang are in New York City to surprise Shaggy with a rap battle with Halsey. Could be worse. She could be singing Blink-182 in the mall. Before anyone embarrasses themselves, a gator pops out of the sewer system to shut this function down. So with the poetry slam over, it's time to start this mystery. Halsey leads the gang down into the underground, where all of New York's cool people are. Money's no good here though, you have to pay in poetry. So here's our allotted cringe for the episode, as Halsey and Shaggy spit over Scooby's beat. Fred doesn't get it, so he just reads from Halsey's poetry book, which is pretty much like the Necronomicon, summoning the gator monster to attack them again. They take the copy of the key they made to the Knowledge Keeper, who throws a bunch of info at us that probably won't matter in the grand scheme of things, and then she leaves. They trudge through the sewers, falling down a secret water slide that still somehow has less germs than a normal water park slide, winding up down in the gator lair. Velma has the book of clues she needs, but can't make out what it means, so Halsey uses some lipstick to draw the music sheet. And honestly, slay. That's some Daphne level ingenuity right there. She vocalizes the pattern like an ocarina, only this time it takes them further down into the sewers. They find the train car with the treasure, and also the rambunctious reptile, who gets put into a safe place. The Gators unmasks the Poetry Slam promoter, who was out for the real treasure, a poem for the Statue of Liberty. Was it cringe? Yeah, it was. Did I also have fun watching it? Duh. Steve Buscemi's trying to enjoy a nice coffee, when everyone suddenly remembers this is Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs, and runs off. Okay, a magma monster behind them doesn't really help either, as they chase Steve right into the gang's path. Steve takes the gang over for the average Italian breakfast, as Nana serves everyone her special garlic olive oil spaghetti. And don't worry about this. The gang shows Steve how to really solve mysteries, perfect hiding places and all. Also, every other character is afraid of Steve because of his acting roles. I promise, not every Italian is this stupid. Just the ones from New Jersey. Okay, swiftly moving on. The monster's back. Cool. They find some garlicky, olive oily footprints, while the monster turns this into Pompeii. The gang get knocked out, so it's up to Steve to save this place from going up in flames, which is actually a pretty cool plot point, since before he was acting, he was a firefighter. You know, sometimes this show really impresses me, and then sometimes the gang turn the hoses on him, ruins the day, and burns the whole building down. We get another training montage for the gang, so now they're really ready for this final trap, which is immediately burnt down. If every single headshot of Steve Buscemi's burnt, this is literally worse than the Library of Alexandria burning down. Eventually the gang extinguished the monster after quite a few fails, and Steve saves his arch nemesis, the chipmunk, from the burning tree. In case the olive oil footprints didn't give it away, Nana's underneath the big costume, who wanted to stop everyone from being so scared of Steve. To celebrate, Steve opens up a brand new fire station for the town, and everyone gets to eat. Manja, manja. The gang deliver a dummy to a competition, leaving them with the on-duty guard. So I'm sure everything's gonna go fine. Yeah, see? The ventriloquists show up with their puppets, and Jeff Dunham brought out the only one that might not get the show cancelled, so that's nice of him. I'm not as familiar with Darcy, but at least she has a fun hobby. The gang decide to help them out so the competition can go on, and maybe keep an eye out on the creepy one. No, the other one. No, the other one. Yeah, that one. I think the ventriloquists are the only two people in this universe who don't know that Scooby's a talking dog. So, who's the real dummy here? The contest director sets everyone up in this totally not Bates Motel for the night, where Shag and Scoob are having some really bad nightmares. If my sleep paralysis demon was a puppet, I'd probably just not sleep either. Now with the charity event, we get a bunch of really great acts. Okay, the monkey attacking the guy got a genuine laugh out of me, just because it caught me so off guard. The crowd love it when Shaggy does his act, but when the less evil Slappy shows up to steal the spotlight, the rest of the gang finally catch the person controlling the dummy, Baz Bosington. They give Baz the first place trophy and he's hauled off to jail. Sure, why not? I'm not even halfway done with this one and I'm already losing it. Professional dancer Maddie Ziegler is all ready to purchase the old dance academy, when an old grand piano comes to life and chases her and her workers out. Down the stairs comes the villain of the episode, Abby Lee Miller. Okay, not really. I think she was already in jail for tax evasion at this point. The gang are driving through the Steel City for the grand opening, and run inside to see who's upstairs. While Fred and the girls check out the penthouse suite, Maddie, Shaggy, and Scooby bring the ghost right back to them. The ghost of Mrs. Zabrinsky puts a curse on Maddie, and the only way to break the curse is to teach someone these 3 oddly specific dance moves. So we get a teaching montage for Shaggy and Scooby to try and help, but Mrs. Zabrinsky is kinda sabotaging the whole thing, so fail, fail, fail. Maddie bargains for one final chance, and must perform the Zabrinsky Triangle live in front of everyone tonight. To everyone's surprise, and I mean genuinely everyone in the universe, and outside the universe, they pull off the feat, reducing the ghost to tears, and the accompanying trap is on point as well. The ghost of Madame Zabrinsky is no ghost at all, it's really Madame Zabrinsky herself, who wanted to make sure her studio went to the right person, and the Zabrinsky Triangle performance confirmed her beliefs, that Maddie was the chosen one. Our cold open doesn't involve our random guest for once, as instead, the gang head over to the abandoned Wainsley Hall, where the wedding witch pushes a statue off the roof, causing them to scatter. Hey, I wonder where our guest is. Oh, it's Jeff Foxworthy. You know, maybe we don't actually need a special guest here. Jeff lets them into the building, where we get some lore about the wedding witch, who seems like a great hostess actually, offering them some of her cursed feast. Eventually she gives up her pursuit, leaving Shaq and Scoob to the good old country boy pastime of watching the bug zapper at night. The bride's kind enough to make a fresh pie, which the country boys partake in, immediately getting super sleepy afterwards. What did she put in here? When they wake up, Shaggy's getting ready for his wedding, with Scooby being the flower dog, and Foxworthy as Mr. Minister. Alright Shaggy, kiss the bride. I wonder if this is a legal marriage. You know, if I can get married at a drive-through Vegas chapel with an ordained Elvis impersonator, this might as well count too. Jeff joins the normal bait for this mission, as the wedding witch chases them around. I think she just really wants her honeymoon with her new husband. She gets a bit caught up in the moment, and is unveiled as the food truck chef, who is also a renowned culinary archaeologist. Shaggy and Scooby eat the rest of the 100-year-old feast, and the oldest mobile home goes, well, mobile. The gang are driving through the desert of California when a giant wormhole opens up right in front of them, unleashing a monster that the world has never seen before. So, the average night out here. The gang fly off the road and crash into actor, and more importantly, Rob Zombie collaborator Malcolm McDowell. He takes the gang down to his laboratory, where our unwanted guest arrives to attack. While the creature destroys everything in the lab, everyone hops on the time machine to get out. They go a little bit past the year of our Lord 3005 to the year 3535, where even the slightest deviation to the timeline could result in the universe collapsing. Oh. The creature knocks Mr. McDowell off the time machine, leaving the gang stranded without his help in some desolate lands in the year 4646. These flying ball things present the organic lifeforms to the Supreme Leader. Oh, this guy looks familiar. Wait, so do they. A battle 2,000 years in the making takes place, as Shagborg and Robo-Dooby-Doo face off. Before they fully come to blows, Shaggy and Scooby do a bit of history revision, leading the Chrono Beast to try and attack them. The time machine breaks apart, and the beast chases everyone through various time warp wormholes before arriving at nothing. This is the future. There is no future. Oh, sorry, I used my film analysis voice. Those are coming back, by the way. The Chrono Beast returns and evaporates Malcolm right where he stands, but is quickly caught, and Velma drops the facade of the special effects that Malcolm McDowell himself created. Velma cracked the plan, but had so much fun with this all that they just released Malcolm and helped set up his attraction. You know, this episode was a lot of fun. I know it's one of those episodes where nothing actually happened for real, but I don't know, something about this one was much better than similar ones in the franchise. A driver's making a delivery up at this creepy looking castle, where three figures lurk in the darkness. Oh my god, it's the Hex Girls.
It should have been me, not him!
Thorne's signature is so on brand. They do a nice little unboxing of a gifted guitar, and hand it off to Lin-Manuel Miranda on steroids to tune it for the show tonight. He immediately starts freaking out, gets jaundice, and breaks out the window. So the average reaction to meeting the Hex Girls. At the venue, Daphne's in charge of hair and makeup for the band, while the rest of the gang just get to chill backstage. Hey girls, why are you doing that? Thorne apparently has a tranquilizer gun for some reason. Actually, I guess they are rock stars, so it's not that outlandish. The ghost of Esther Moonkiller arrives to curse everyone in attendance. And if that ain't heavy metal, I don't know what is. The gang use some clues to try and find some answers, while Thorne and Luna just become normal, preppy, non-goth girls. They want to make some last-minute lyric changes. Instead of putting a hex on people, they want to put a blessing on them instead. And you know what? Good enough for me. Welcome back, Flyleaf. The openers head out to get the night started. Yeesh, tough crowd. Alright, good luck, queens. Ew, Thorne starts playing some bullshit ukulele song. Hey V, help us out here. Thanks, queen. Esther chases everyone out onto the stage before they're captured, and we finally unmask them as Xander, the president of the Hex Girls fan club, who is also a former member of the band. They wanted to ruin the Hex Girls, but in the end made their concert better than ever. It's probably the worst Hex Girls episode, but above average for this series still. Oh god, the Mystery Machine's on Broadway. Please don't be a musical episode. No, they're singing. Guys, please, I can't take it. The animation's superb, so I'll let it slide for now. This werewolf won't, however, breaking out of the theater and opening up the Mystery Machine like a can of sardines to interrupt their musical number, plunging into the toxic waters of New York. Actor Kristen Schaal fishes them out of the water, and delivers us a musical number of the werewolf's journey, which actually isn't bad. Back at the prom, the hairy beast returns, and Slater falls into the pit of despair. Alright, it's up to you, gang. I swear, each of these doorway segments gets longer and longer, but eventually they ditch the Hellhound and find some clues. Christian's got a broken leg, but that won't stop him from going through each suspect for the crime and trying to find out who's doing all this. He even does a pretty sweet jackass stunt to capture the werewolf, winding up about as injured as the average jackass member. Velma's got a bunch of clues, they break out into song, and Slater relays his disdain for Scrappy. Watch it, buddy. I can probably find a bone in there that's not broken yet. Of course, we can't just normally capture this wolf. We have to do it in song. Hey wait, Christian Slater? Simone is tied up? Man, what did I miss? So apparently, he got too afraid of speaking to a woman that he just ran out, dressed up as a werewolf, and crashed the prom. The girl accepts the apology and everyone dances an Irish jig. What even is happening? Did I eat some of that drugged sweet potato pie? Neil deGrasse Tyson's here to teach us about the resilience of the water bear, seeing this one swell to normal bear size, which sounds like it could be the start of a fun and terrible horror movie. The Mystery Gang joined Bill Nye on his voyage up to the space station where Neil and his gang were. With the tardigrade crawling through the air ducts, I hope it basically acts like a xenomorph and we have some alien type fun. Shaggy and Scooby eat about 6 months worth of space food, so the tardigrade reprimands them for their greediness, chasing them all around the ship. Before they turn into some grade A tardigrade food, it's scared off by the other astronauts, leaving behind a scrap of something for Velma to examine. As penance, Shaggy and Scooby head into the vents to try and bait the monster out, instead finding themselves outside of the space station. While Daphne, Fred, and Neil go on a rescue mission, Bill and Velma have an issue of their own, barely dodging the tardigrade's attack and locking it out of the chamber. Or so they thought. It's time to set up the big trap, which pretty much instantly gets ruined when Scooby opens the airlock and kicks everyone into space. And like, this is still likely someone in a costume, right? They just kinda killed them. Velma's on my side with this one, so they take the ship and grab the monster before heading back to Earth. And they're coming in hot. Luckily, Urkel rigged the Mystery Machine to be a giant RC car earlier in the season, so we can land safely and unmask the 2 scientists from the start underneath the costume. Season 1 down, 26 more episodes to go. During a play rehearsal, a light fixture falls on the floor, and a ghost with that southern twang warns them to get out of the theater before it's too late. The Mystery Gang arrive in Nashville to help Daphne's friend out, just as the thespians run out on the play. Whatever, get on your high horse and leave. Oh hey, it's Kacey Musgraves. She tells the gang that this phantom drove away her whole crew, who goes on to continue that rampage, but I don't know where everyone went off to. Also, these costumes are everything. Shag and Scoob end up getting a feast, and Casey's homemade hot sauce burns a hole straight through the ground, so you know it's good. It burns a hole straight through the basement and into an underground cave, where an old riverboat resides. Velma hits the organ button like 8 times, which we all know summons the ghost, so this chase is on her really. It's a full house on opening night, and the gang step in to help make the show go smoothly. Which just about happens, despite Fred's himboisms. But a stray falling light leaves our hostess no choice but to save Scooby. And even the ghost can't scare this crowd, instead getting smoked and sauced like a rack of ribs. Getting unmasked as Casey's producer. This dude's broke, and his last-ditch plan to save his brisket was insurance fraud, which I don't think has worked for anyone in history, ever. But, go off I guess. Okay, this episode shot like a found footage mockumentary, so it automatically goes towards the top. This is campy and fun, plus it has Morgan Freeman narrating, which is always a plus. At an old prison on Lake Erie, a glowing ghostly inmate wanders within these walls. Luckily the gang just happened to be meddling around and trespassing, so they can help once Fred regains control of the van. The gang head into the prison and, y'all didn't see this? The glowing 7-foot inmate? There's like half a second of genuinely the scariest thing that Scooby-Doo's ever produced. Look at this. In between the plot developing, the gang pop in with their quips for the documentary, which, I must reiterate, is very fun. Janine gets kidnapped in the commotion, and Shaggy falls directly through the floor, so I think he could sue the state. They find the warden's treasure room, which is the perfect place to set up the bait for the trap, as the golden ghost chases the not-so-golden retriever, getting sent straight into the open cell. The ghost is unmasked as Jeremy Snickerson, who is, of course, wait, who is this guy? Okay, I guess he's the twin of Janine, who are descendants of the old warden. Shag and Scooby also got locked up, but dug out with a spoon, encountering all kinds of odd things. If I were breaking out of prison and found a zombie skeleton, I'd just go straight back to my cell. That's probably enough for the day. A hospital's clearing out the final patients before closing down for good, and this final one's a real monster. No, really. Just ask this worker. The gang head up to that same hospital to investigate the sightings of Dr. Phineas Fragg, an old doctor who drank a cocktail of bug and plant DNA, which caused some adverse side effects. Once inside, the gang come across monster hunter Kristen Schaal and the nurse who got attacked. The hospital administrator gives them the key to the place to look for some clues, of course after the monster chases them around real quick. This is basically American healthcare. A bunch of suspicious suspects enter the fold, and leave just about as quick as they're introduced, so it's time to get to the core of this mystery. They interrupt the monster with their coring machine, and Kristen pulls around the mystery machine and straight up just runs it over, before sending it through a wall into the ground below. So she's about as unhinged as Fred. And her traps work about as well as Fred's too, as the monster breaks free and starts chasing them once more. But this time they make sure that they can't escape. Taking the mask off reveals Big Bob McAllister, who is after all the oil reserves underneath the place. Kristen realizes her true calling after all, becoming the monster, and takes off in the mystery machine. I want it to be known that if I were to make a Mount Rushmore of American sports icons, Joey Chestnut is 100% going on there. Before a hot dog eating competition, some sort of tentacle root monster breaks through the floor and attacks everyone. The gang arrive at the factory not long after, and apparently this competition's still going on even with the gnarled one going around. And out of sheer stress eating while watching, Scooby wins the belt. But just before they do a best out of 3, the gnarled one's roots rise once more, grabbing Joey, Mr. Haggerty, and the gang. Shag and Scoob lead the chase throughout the factory, eating the hot dog loaf to lighten the weight. Don't worry about the physics behind it, it just worked. Oh yeah, the gang are still kinda dying over here. Can we fix that? Alright, cool. Shaggy, Scooby, and Joey decide to lead this charge, right after a quick snack. Wait, whoa. There's evidence here. Velma, analyze. Okay, yeah, she's got it all figured out. Poor Scooby here is going in alone as the bait, since apparently he looks like the mascot? I don't know, I don't see it. They link up with the final trap, being unmasked as Big Eddie Eats, who wanted to shut down the competition before Joey won again. During the eat-off, it's Shaggy's turn to stress eat his way to the belt. Still best 2 out of 3? Gigi Hadid's here with Agent 47 before a fashion show, where a giant monster breaks through the ceiling and attacks her, ruining the entire show. The gang are waiting for the gargoyle to return to the bell tower and, hey, right on cue. There's just enough bells here for each of the gang to trap themselves, giving the gargoyle an easy escape. And if you expected Daphne to be the one who's friends with Gigi, you're wrong this time. It's actually Velma. They tag along to the photo shoot, where everyone finds their own suspect one by one, but of course, Shaggy and Scooby are the ones to bring the monster to the party. Gigi and Velma team up to ditch this rock monster, and find the hidden staircase right down to the Paris catacombs. They also find some paintings stolen straight from the Louvre, and one of the fallen gargoyles from Notre Dame. Oh, nope, that's the monster. The gang fill in as models for the show, and hey Fred, I can see your peacock. Daphne's serving bush realness, or I guess Christmas tree, and Velma's got a can-do attitude, so everything's going well. Our resident tea, Pothead, really makes this a steamy show, with the lovely bride bringing it all home. The monster catches the bouquet, so they're next in line to get married. That might have to wait until after the prison stay, as J. Kosh Blanc is unmasked and taken away. Scooby ends up being the top model in the world, and honestly, we couldn't have picked a better option. The gang are driving through a creepy old forest, and decide to take a creepy dark road that clearly says keep out for some reason. Oh, there's food waiting for them, of course. Maybe not what they envisioned, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. The walking food pyramid chases them around and corners them, only being stopped by these liquid nitrogen bombs. There's only one madman combining science and food like this, Alton Brown, who was a staple of my childhood growing up watching the Food Network. Alton tells the story of Dr. Frankenfooter and his monster that is said to wander the castle today. And judging by our opening segment, yeah, I'd probably say that's true. Oh, Alton gets picked up and carried out by the monster, so looks like the gang's on their own here. Wait, just kidding, he's fine. Alton's hostage gets free, don't worry about it. Instead, we find Frankenfooter's diary, which Alton concludes that to solve this mystery, he must create the bride of Frankenfooter. Okay, he cut a couple corners here, but it'll have to do. Scooby takes care of the leftovers, and of course it's Alton Brown underneath there. He basically just had a midlife crisis and brought the gang in to spread the good word of his good eats. I can't tell if this one just went by super quick or just not enough happened for me to register things. Either way, not the worst one, I guess? An impatient rich lady goes for a cursed elevator ride with this demonic bellhop, and immediately threatens to sue. Cool, we love rich people. The shop owner calls the mystery gang in to have a look inside, and meet fashion icon Tim Gunn. He loves everything about how the gang look. Okay, except for Shaggy. He's a little too... shaggy. So he takes him and Scooby down for a makeover. Hey, who put this in here? The ghost chases them around the department store, getting a makeover of their own. Luckily, an elevator escape brings them to the thought-to-be-lost floor 13, where someone's obviously been hard at work. They find the sketchbook of the legendary designer Miko Monreal, and apparently they aren't the only fans here, as the ghost reappears and is after that book. With everyone in place, the doorman nabbed the ghostly elevator operator, unmasking Marla the saleswoman, who stole the designs from Monreal's sketchbook and almost launched her own fashion line, if it weren't for those meddling kids. Tim Gunn even comes around to accept the fact that Shaggy is peak character design, so everyone goes home happy. The gang are driving through the Austrian Alps for a super secret Daphne mystery. Might have something to do with this snow monster, but that's just my guess. They swerve off the road to avoid the beast, with Daphne's bestie Tara Lipinski coming to their aid. Everyone heads inside for some fondue, and Daphne breaks the news that she's competing for this year's Ice Games competition, as long as the monster allows. Daphne catches up with a rival, who already seems to have been Tanya Hardinged, so Daphne's looking like the prime suspect here. It's less likely considering that Daphne's here and the monster's over here, but still a non-zero chance. Tara's a pretty good commentator for this chase, but even better in action, doing a triple axel to get rid of this clingy monster. Daphne says her line to unmask this monster, but we're only halfway in, so let's stall a bit. Hey, at least my boy Flim Flam got a shout out in this episode, that's kinda cool. Oh yeah, the monster's gone. And so is the water underneath the ice. Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma play keep away from the Schneeteufel, but fully tackling her allows the monster to get the skates. Tara finally realizes that she's the only one who can stop this monster, sending them for a spin, and Fred finally captures the beast. Ex-hockey player Johan really wanted to scare everyone away from the competition to get it shut down, because he just didn't want to keep doing this. You and me both. We're still out on the snow for the next episode, with the gang hitting the slopes for some fun. Well, fun is subjective, especially when Shaggy and Scooby french fry when they really should have pizzaed, causing an avalanche. Luckily, snowboarding superstar Chloe Kim is here to save the day. Hey wait, I've seen this guy before. While everyone turns in for the night, someone puts a heat lamp on the frozen man to thaw him out. Chloe, Shaggy, and Scooby head down to the kitchen for a light midnight snack, and find the frozen man to no longer be frozen. They get chased around the place before heading up to the snow patrol cabin to find some clues and some snacks. But that's quickly interrupted when the caveman breaks down the door and chases after them on the snowmobile. Chloe and the gang use the friendship formation to ditch this cold creep, and Scooby lands directly on the last clue Velma needs for the case. They find an abandoned old mail plane, and the caveman seems to be really interested in whatever was being transported. But all this banging on the metal plane causes another avalanche, and everyone heads back down the mountain on the fresh powder. Fred tries to steer this bird to safety, while Chloe hits the half pipe with the caveman, who was really the ski instructor after the bearer bonds in the briefcase. I preferred the original Frozen Caveman episode, but this one's still pretty good, especially for this series. A robot breaks out of a military base right outside of Louisville, and lands right in front of the mystery machine, punching them into a streetlight. The van's trashed, so the gang have to go on foot. Their best bet would be to head over to Laila Ali's gym, preferably before everything gets destroyed. Maybe not. If the museum doesn't get up and running by tomorrow, the lease goes back to this red-headed real estate agent. So while Layla teaches Shag and Scoop how to stand up for themselves, Fred and the girls start the cleanup mission, finding a few clues that they'll probably need. Alright, everything's cleaned up, let's go find the... okay. Also, the robot somehow walks at Michael Myers speed to catch up. The gang find the elevator, but the robot breaks the cables and sends them down into the cave system, where they find the final clue they need. Layla challenges the bot to a live fight and hops in the ring with the robot, which gets tagged by Velma while Shaggy gives the rules. I ain't gonna lie, Layla kinda got washed here, but so did the robot. This buys Velma enough time to trace the signal, and Layla beats the equivalent of Matt from Wii Sports Boxing. Everyone finds the caterer in a locker controlling the robot, which he stole from the base that he got a gig at. The cops take him away, and Layla keeps her crown as the queen of boxing. Hey old top, no soliciting. Oh sure, just let yourself right on in. You know, that's what you get. The gang arrived shortly after to the very same mansion, followed closely behind by Liza Koshy. Liza brought them all here to be a part of her vlog content, which is about as bad as you'd expect it to be. Fred tries to leech some clout off Liza for his own channel, but she kinda just brushes them off. Fred, I'll subscribe to you, buddy. Hey, Pizza Face, give it a rest, would ya? The gang try to run out, but the ghost jazz band stops them. At least Liza's kinda digging the tunes, so maybe her appearance isn't all bad. Oh no, she's flossing. This episode is just so bleak, vlogging every moment of this traumatic experience to spread to her followers. Yeah, it's a kid's show and I'm reading way too much into it all, but seeing this compared to everyone live streaming every second of their lives proves that we're just in our own episode of Black Mirror. Anyways, back to the funny-ish. Fred contemplates clickbaiting his audience, so the content brain rot has already got to him. The demolition team begins their work, and literally all this guy wants is for the intruders to leave him alone. Doesn't he understand that we have clips to farm? After his capture, the ghost is unmasked as the pizza guy, and also the caretaker, who is going to steal the gold and the valuable treasure and sell it on the black market. And I gotta say, Liza's title isn't really doing it. Here, how about, do not enter abandoned houses at 3 AM challenge. Gone wrong, gone hungry. I think that would be better. The gang are watching a baseball game and got some really great seats. Throwing out the first pitch is rapper Macklemore, and oh, the Devil's coming to claim their reward for letting him win Rap Album of the Year in 2013. Was it really worth it, Mr. Macklemore? Yeah, probably. The gang rush onto the field to save him from the beast. But it's far too late, as the ghost of Macklemore is doomed to walk this earth, with everyone asking him to go thrift shopping. Oh, he's fine. Macklemore apparently really loves Scooby and the gang. He's got newspaper clippings framed and Mystery Gang highlights playing 24/7. He shows off his special yak costume that comes to life and falls into the pool, causing it to boil and shake the house, so maybe this is the devil after all. His entire house collapses, but hey, at least he's got pizza. The mascot returns at the card store, where the gang fling a decommissioned sea mine towards the villain, and the entire place explodes. I think Daphne and Scooby just killed a guy. Slay. They put together a pickup game a little less cool than Twilight's. Hey, wait, where's Macklemore then? Oh, right. Macklemore was such a big fan of the gang that all he wanted in life was to say the meddling kids line. And he was willing to blow up everything he owns, various buildings around town, and endanger the lives of thousands to do so. So, you know what? Go for it, Mac. Say the line. Ah, we ran out of time, that's too bad. Daphne's on her way to her first day as a stunt actor, where this teal-faced ghoul fires a charge to blow up the facade of the town. Like, the whole town. And Fred's kinda nice behind the wheel. I remember the days where we would look away for a second and he's upside down in a ditch somewhere. Our special guest is even more special, since it's a returnee all the way back from 1972's to the new Scooby-Doo movies, Sandy Duncan. And that episode was canon too, so now it's time for the reboot. That pesky hide is still at it, but never mind that. We've got a picture to make with some of these universally loved creatures. Back on set, the main actor gets attacked and kidnapped by Hyde, who chases the pursuers around various backlot sets. He hops in one of the studio tour carts and nearly has Scooby in his clutches, but is foiled once again by Sandy Duncan. Hey buddy, you dropped something. It's a blueprint of the set on the back of this old poster, which is almost everything they need to figure this one out. First we gotta take a visit to our old foe turned friend Zelia Fairchild, who promises it's totally not him this time. He points the gang towards the vault where the original print is kept, so it's time to get this movie rolling. Hyde swoops in and retakes the prints, but gets thrown around the studio in still somehow a less dangerous way than actors in the 30s did. Under that ghastly mask is Tabitha, who found the maps to the vault and used the disguise to buy some time. But they're already standing in the vault itself, surrounded by millions of dollars of film reels. Jeopardy is my favorite game show of all time, so I hope this episode's awesome. This one's basically like the time that IBM brought out Watson the AI to try and win. And it did. Versus two of the greatest Jeopardy contestants ever. Uh-oh. We've got some fun categories here, but Velma's absolutely running this one. The AI is starting to go a bit haywire, so it might be time for a commercial break, Alex. Trebek reminds Max Kilobyte that there's still double Jeopardy to play, so while Max gets a quick system reset, it's time to meet the players. After the break, Max starts picking up the pace, but when Velma gets the daily double right, Max breaks the like turn again. How many times until they get kicked out? I feel like chasing the other two contestants and also the host warrants a disqualification. Also, I like that Alex Trebek runs exactly like Shaggy and Scooby. I think that's fun. Alex rallies his troops against the robot, because the human mind can do magical things. Like Shaggy getting the first question of Double Jeopardy right, and then clearing the food category to take the lead. But going into Final Jeopardy, Max has a slight lead, with Velma not far behind, and Shaggy still mathematically in it. Hey, I actually know the final question. Both Max and Velma got it wrong and bet it all, so Shaggy wins. Max doesn't believe it, and immediately throws a tantrum, so must be a 3 strikes and you're out penalty. Velma hacks into the system and unveils the camera person behind it all, having hacked into the robot to answer the questions. So that implies that Max's tantrums were actually from the AI. Uh-oh. The gang are having a peaceful scenic drive through Route 66, when suddenly some mud kicks up and causes them to crash. My guess is that these mud monsters have something to do with it. On dark roads like this, you really gotta watch out for bandits. Case in point, as the creatures take off with the mystery machine. The gang make the walk of shame into Miloville, where Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses is waiting at the diner for Shaq and Scoob. The chef gets taken by a mud monster, so Fred files a missing persons report for the mystery machine, while 2 more workers are taken. Still, this is somehow less hectic than the average Waffle House experience. Alright gang, let's split up. Fred, you take Daphne and get kidnapped by the mud monsters. Axl, you and the rest of the gang run this way. Perfect. Almost. Alright, Axl, Shaggy, and Scooby, it's up to you to solve the mystery. This Latin reads, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which is what's written above the gates of hell. So yeah, let's just walk right in. What's the worst that could happen? Could be worse. They find the gang all tied up, but no time to untie them now. They've got to chase after the monsters. Scooby almost gets hereditaried, but this allows Axl to kick Scooby back and crash the getaway van. And the monsters are finally hosed off to reveal the waitress, the cook, and the janitor. They learned about the City of Gold and stole the mystery machine to help transport it. Axl and the gang turn the gold over to tribal authorities, which I think is a good touch. He also pimps the mystery machine out, so overall, I think it's a pretty good way to end this one. Jason Sudeikis joins the mystery gang on a riverboat, in search of a pair of lost sneakers. However, I don't think Critter really cares about that, attacking him as he writes in his journal. A disheveled-looking gang step in to help him, but Jason's more worried about his sneakers than, you know, living. A cautionary tale of materialism. Shaggy and Scooby host the creature, but we're kind of missing a lot of backstory here. Hey, Jason, can you fill us in? Okay, so Jason and Scooby were fighting over a rare pair of kicks when they found a treasure map to the lost sneaker factory in Brazil, so they all head over to find it. Sure, why not? It's now day 37, so this is basically a big season of Survivor. The Snake Man causes the riverboat to go up in flames and kicks them all downstream, but Fred's luxury item just happens to be the mystery machine, which he uses as an immunity idol to save the tribe. They finally find the old factory, which has been reclaimed by nature like it's straight out of The Last of Us. And Jason finds the rare sneakers he's been after, capturing the Snake Man in the process. Snake person. It's the sneaker salesperson from the other store back in the States, who also wanted those rare sneakers. Mystery Machine Monster Truck is awesome, and so is Scooby just being a normal dog, eating the rare shoes that they almost died for. Sometimes you forget that he's still just a dog, so this is fun. Scooby brings the gang to a friend's art gallery, which doesn't seem like the right place necessarily, but I guess that's the beauty of art. The art, which looks more like a Bugsteel Pokemon, chases them around the gallery, before being scared off by Lucy Lou's flashlight. Oh, I get it. This is Dead by Daylight. We're at Lucy's art gallery, and that monster came in and wrecked it all before running out. Oh no, they've got the Naruto run speed boost. There's no hope outrunning them. They're gonna have to outwit them, which they do with some pizza pie pranks. Everyone finds that the piece of wood itself is a puzzle box, holding a valuable emerald inside, which the monster really wants, eventually getting it after Scooby gets a knock to the head. If they want to escape, they're gonna have to go through Lucy, and challenging Lucy Liu of all people to a duel? What are you, stupid? Scooby leads the monster back upstairs and uses the power of art to capture them, unveiling the maintenance man underneath, who's really an old gangster who stole the emerald years ago, hiding it in the dumpster before he did 20 years for it. What, he just expected it to still be there? Lucy's gallery gets all cleaned up and ready to open, featuring Scooby's greatest piece, the Tao of Scoob. This old woman threatens this minimum wage teen worker who obviously doesn't know what she's looking for, so whatever happens to her, she deserves it. Oh, well, the point remains. Daphne brings the gang to meet her friend Sean Astin, but make sure to let them know not to mention the word ring whatsoever, because every time they do, he has flashbacks to, you know, the ring? No, not the horror movie. He recruits the gang to return this ring of keys back to more doors and walls and stuff. The monster chases our fellowship around the store and, fellowship, that's got a nice ring to it. They do a good job of upselling this monster, but end up getting caught up in the vines. It doesn't look like Sean's gonna get out of this one, but I've seen stranger things. Fred fires up his weed whacker to trim this bush, but this video is not sponsored by Manscaped. A couple of suspects emerge from the trimmings, but Shag and Scoob are ready to dip. However, Sean uses those doughy eyes of his to change their mind. So instead, they do some shopping for Fred's final trap, while the monster chases everyone down. Luckily, they hit up the gardening section, where each member of the gang get to show off their skills. Fred puts the plan into the baler, and we unmask the garden department lady underneath, who was planning a bank heist or something. Wow, Scoob, looking good. We've got another return guest from the new Scooby-Doo movies with Cher, serving the gang up some frozen hot chocolates. So, milkshakes? Also, Scooby gets the vanilla one. That's a good touch. I wonder if that shark is back. Cher has a machine to turn ocean trash into pretty beads, which is great. We love a green queen. Hey, I was right. The shark is back. The chef was supposed to cook Scooby's birthday cake, but no matter. Cher throws them a bedazzled set of aprons to get baking. This one's less like Jaws and more like Sharknado. The creature flies out and chases the gang around the yacht, giving us maybe the lamest Scooby-Doo doors chase of all time, but also the most fabulous getaway scheme. While this shark has a gender euphoric moment, their partner steals the yacht and crashes full speed into the Sargasso Sea wreckage. Cher and the gang put their wetsuits on and swim out to the wreckage, unknowingly being followed. Careful, the scariest thing out on the open seas is those gorgeous sirens. See? They drop anchor and lead the shark straight into the trap, unmasking the captain and first mate of Cher's ship, who were loading up all the gold from the wreckage. Scooby finally gets his birthday cake, and all of the gold gets donated to a charity of Cher's choice. There's some dull moments in here for sure, but I really did enjoy this episode. I like when the special guest highlights some of their hobbies, instead of, you know, chasing shoes. Hey wait, where'd the chef go? Fred gets the gang lost in a Tanzanian jungle, being saved by a giant gorilla pointing them towards the right direction. Aw, how nice. Now, if I saw a 20-foot gorilla roaming the jungle, my first thought wouldn't really be, hey, let's go check this out. But that kind of thinking also wouldn't lead me to Jessica Biel. So who's the fool now? She already knows Shaggy and Scooby, mostly because they put her business, well, out of business. Miss Biel was hiking Kilimanjaro when she also saw the giant gorilla, and knowing how endangered they are, made it her mission to protect it. Back-to-back progressive environmental protection episodes? I'm down. They say the worst thing to do in a bear attack is to climb a tree, and I think the same works for gorillas, since it's back and less willing to listen to Jessica's heartfelt pleas. Last episode we had one of the worst Scooby-Doo door chases. Well, this one has one of the better ones, using vines to swing about the trees. The gang regroups behind the secret room that's behind every waterfall, which also happens to be King Solomon's mine. And this has one of my favorite sequences in the entire series, as each of the gang get to flex their intellect in their own ways. Some hooded figure drops down and steals the gang in the treasure room, but is inevitably caught by the gorilla, and is unmasked as Joyce from Jessica's tour group. And if you think that's wild, check this out. Gorilla inside of a gorilla mech suit. Hell yeah. Jessica and this guy expand the nature preserve, and this cub finds her mama, ending another wild and sweet adventure. A couple of electricians are working through the night to get this club up and running, with not much luck. But who needs lights anyways when the main attraction can light up any room he walks in, looking fresh as hell like this. Shaggy and Scooby bring the gang here the next morning for the grand opening of Rev Run's Hip Hop Youth Center. Run's opening this place up so the kids of Harlem can have a safe place to enjoy hip hop, which is another great cause. But every cause has an effect, so we have to listen to Shaggy and Scooby freestyle. We already saw that in the Halsey episode, but it's just as bad here. As Rev gives the gang the rundown, the ghost of Tab Tatters reappears and introduces his boy Bones McCann, and they chase the gang around. This leads to an old Prohibition-era speakeasy, but I wonder who owns the joint. Oh, yeah, makes sense. Daphne's French and Run's rhythm unlock a secret case to the golden microphone, so it's trapping time now. Hey V, where are you going? Okay. Scooby's the opening act of the night, but he only gets a few lines in before Tab and Bones come to perform. Tab's a little haywire. Hey wait, how'd you do that? Well, it's tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. And so is the golden microphone. The librarian was actually a treasure hunter that was coming to look for the microphone, using the underground tunnels to find it. Now with her captured, Run's youth center can finally open up, and Scooby finally gets his opening act, which is pretty bad, but would still be the best rap song from the 80s. Fred's got a surprise for the gang, but he's not going to tell them what it is. If it's not a ski trip or an abominable snowman, it's gotta be the giant pterodactyl. Ha! I knew it. The creature runs the gang off the road, but luckily this baby's 4-wheel drive, so Fred can just reverse to safety. Oh, well, that's just rude. Fred signed them all up for Cool School, taught by Dee Williams. The gang's normal walk cycle isn't cool. They can't enter a room cool. I just don't know if they're classically cool, but that's what makes them cool. Billy takes them up on a hot air balloon ride, which is, in fact, cool. But the pterodactyl returns to ruin their fun. Not cool. Of course, Billy D's cool under pressure, saving the gang from certain death again, and returns back to the school. There's not much downtime here though, as the dinosaur returns and breaks into the school to chase them down. Billy D shows that his cape is both fashion and function, which is, of course, cool. The gang set the pterodactyl up with some new dentures, which is somehow less scary than when people come back from holiday in Turkey. Velma's already got this one on lock, as the pterodactyl attacks the helicopter and grabs the cash, flying straight into the gang and getting tangled in the process, unmasking Kathy, the fake rich girl that I kinda just skipped over. Oops. Does it really matter? No. The gang are driving through rural Louisiana when they almost collide with a falling star, and go spinning into a tree. Terry Bradshaw watched the whole thing from his farm, and leads them to the crash site where the spaceship remains are. Or were. This green alien chases them around the farm and eventually back into the van. But Scooby panics and sends the gang off without the boys, who do end up swinging back around for them. Hey, nice driving, V. Terry brings the gang back to his place to regroup, but almost immediately gets tackled, and some fast-acting CTE makes him think that he's a commentator with a talking dog co-host. Weird, huh? Alright, we gotta get this team together. Terry draws up a play for everyone, which gets rid of the alien for now. Terry takes Shaggy and Scooby down to the house of pancakes, and hey green guy, you want one? Meanwhile, Fred and the girls wait inside the house with the trap. And wait. And wait. Terry makes the game plan for his very own trap, as the alien chases them around Terrytown, running into a few obstacles before capture. Oh hey gang, nice of you to join us. Shaggy gives us some post-game analysis, kinda, and the alien was the man in black after all. Who would've thunk it? Apparently the giant donut was full of cash the whole time, and Terry likes his moxie, so he decides to let him go and makes everyone pancakes. Sure, why not? A man setting up a pretty big looking recording room for 4 people. Oh no, he's a podcaster. A familiar looking hand reaches out to grab him, but he's got a package at the door waiting for him. The delivery person looks familiar too, actually. The gang are driving along the coastline up to the mansion, where they're soon to meet their heroes, the voice actors behind some of their favorite cartoons. First they meet the legendary Frank Welker, who's the voice of Megatron, among other things. But we're expecting a few more guests, like Matthew Lillard, aka Stu from Scream, among other roles, who pulls up and joins everyone inside. Frank gives everyone a tour of his place, with a fun interactive art piece of Redbeard the Pirate. Yoink! That mysterious package contained the one and only Kate Micucci, and Grey Delisle is on her way too, which you might recognize from these things. Alright, enough of the shtick. The Mystery Gang meet all of their voice actors in real life, and it's very meta and cool to see. Kinda like Scream, actually. Even Charlie the Robot's here, and he's shredded as hell for some reason. Why is he kinda... Hey, where are you going? Now that everyone's here and safe, I think we can start recording. After some selfies, songs, and other hijinks. Okay, Kate disappears and Creeper takes Grey away. While trying to track her down, every single one of the classic monsters joins the chase. The actors decide to take 5, so the gang go to record instead, which attracts all the monsters to the booth. Scooby captures the bunch and flies them off. Hey Scoob, you weren't actually supposed to fly, buddy. Charlie hops in the cockpit and helps the dog land this bird. Each of the monsters is unmasked as one of the voice actors. Each of them wanted to play a different role in the story for once, so they all tried to sabotage the recording. This is such a bizarre meta episode, and it seems like one big love letter to the people who voice our favorite characters. The gang are brought in to help Mr. Smallbottoms defend his prized vase collection from a Medusa monster, which they have no problem with because, of course, monsters are not real. Right? Medusa turns Smallbottoms into stone and takes off with one of the vases, when Blue Falcon and Dynamite break in and save the gang. Barely. No time to talk, gotta go, bye! If looking at Medusa turns you to stone, I guess I'm done for. But it was a respectful look. Blue Falcon returns to put an end to her terror, and immediately gets knocked out and kidnapped. Alright, cool, good work. Dynamite and Scooby get through their fetch quest and head out to finally find Blue Falcon. Aw, Medusa got him too. Hey queen. I guess when you're hard countered by a mirror, you aren't really that menacing. Dynamite gives Blue Falcon a big high five, which disintegrates him instantly. Dynamite canonically murdered him. But Velma realizes that this isn't stone, it's cement, giving her exactly what she needs to crack this case. She brings them back to Small Bottoms, the cement factory portion this time, where they find all the Price's vases and also Medusa. If she knows that this is just someone in a mask, why are we running again? Doesn't matter. This gets cemented as the easiest unmasking in the series, as Mr. Smallbottoms was stealing and selling vases on the black market. Velma keeps Blue Falcon and Dynamutt's identities hidden, and everyone enjoys a nice night of luxury. The gang got arrested, probably for meddling. Nah, not really. They're getting scanned in for Carol Burnett's new VR Movieland experience. Tammy gets everyone set up for a beta test and they're all transported in. Hey, what happened to the aspect ratio? We start with a slightly altered version of Casablanca, since this one has a Grim Reaper ghost, so it's actually a lot cooler. The virus chases them around, going for a spin on the roulette wheel, which allows the gang to get away. They don't know where they're headed next, but they'll always have Paris. But the virus is piloting this plane, so the only way away is to jump straight into an old western, with another aspect ratio switch to go with it. They hightail it over to the saloon for some fresh pints. Of water, of course, where every patron inside is that virus monster. Number one rule of bar fights is to get the first shot in. Fred, you get me. While the antivirus squad fights the intruders, Shag and Scoob treat themselves to some sarsaparilla, and Daphne remembers that she has like 6 black belts to her name. Luckily, Carol kicks these bandits to the curb, and hey, we're back in Oz. This one's way better than last time. We've got double Dorothy's and flying monkey viruses. Okay, now we've got neither. The witch just wants Dorothy's red bottoms, and throws her fireballs at the gang to try and stop them. See, I told you, all they needed was some water. Scarecrow Velma catches the fireballs in her bucket and douses the witch, melting her away. For, like, a second. Everyone gets chased from the castle, and Carol throws this move into Rewind, lifting Dorothy's house back up and back down onto the virus. The Wicked Witch is gone, and probably so is the head programmer's job, and everyone else that helped her. The project was already complete, but they just wanted to keep working because Carol's just a really good boss. Bold move, but it actually pays off. And we end with a really nice parting song. Honestly, it's not a dedicated goodbye, but it's better than most shows get, which is a goodbye at all. I've had a lot of back and forth with this series. It started off well, like a breath of fresh air, but then that air got very stale and samey over the course of 52 episodes. I think this ran for double than what it really warrants, but there are plenty of fun moments along the way. But to me, the worst episode has to be Attack of the Weird Allosaurus, followed by The Internet on Haunted House Hill, Dance Matron of Mayhem, People's Pet Shop of Terrible Terrors, The Feast of Dr. Frankenfooter, The Nightmare Ghost of Psychic You, Too Many Dummies, 1 Minute Mysteries, Ollie Ollie Income Free, The Crown Jewel of Boxing, Hollywood Nights, Scooby-Doo and the Skytown Cool School, The High School Wolfman's Musical Lament, The Fastest Food Fiend, Lost Souls of Jungle River, Scooby on Ice, The Hot Dog Dog, A Mystery Solving Gang Divided, The Horrible Haunted Hospital of Dr. Phineas Fragg, Elementary My Dear Shaggy, A Movable Mystery, The 7th Inning Scare, Space Station Scooby, A Fashion Nightmare, Fear of the Fire Beast, The Cursed Cabinet of Professor Mads Markson, The Wedding Witch of Wainsley Hall, The Sword, the Fox, and the Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Dog Wonder, When Urkel Bots Go Bad, the dreaded remake of Jekyll and Hyde, Quit Clowning, The Tao of Scoob, The Movieland Monsters, The Phantom, the Talking Dog, and the Hot 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 Sauce, Caveman on the Halfpipe, A Run Cycle Through Time, What a Night for a Dark Night, The New York Underground, Dark Diner of Route 66, Falling Starman, The Last Inmate, The Legend of the Gold Microphone, I Put a Hex on You, Revenge of the Swamp Monster, A Haunt of a Thousand Voices, Returning of the Keyring, Total Jeopardy, The Lost Mines of Kilimanjaro, Now You See Ya, Now You Don't, Cher, Scooby, and the Sargasso Sea, and for me the best episode of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who was The Scooby of a Thousand Faces. And with that, the final Scooby series is over. I've got a couple more fun Scooby-Doo related videos to make, which I'm really excited for. Thank you as always to my lovely members over on the Patreon for their continued support. If you'd like to join them and get your name on here with them, head on over with the link in the description or in the card above. Of course, you don't have to, but I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. But until then, bye. Wait, no. It can't be. I said I'd never talk about it. You're not even a Scooby series.